Uh, Dear friends, if you just look at this poem from the point of view of the major themes, you can just find that we can just find a lot of a plethora of thoughts, different thoughts in this poem. And if you ask what it's about, we can say that it's about courage. Of course, it's about pride, and you can say that about injustice, about oppression, about the identity of the black female, and the willpower and the optimism and the obsession for liberation. And these are all some of the themes you can just find in this poem. And of course, it's about the color prejudice, apartheid. If Nelson Mandela, after getting a long span of 27 years in the jail and coming out, if just read out his poem, we are sure that this poem he has selected as a representative specimen, which is really demanding everybody out of this color prejudice, apartheid imposed by the white masters in Africa. And structurally, if you just look at, you can just find there are different types of the literary devices used in this poem. You can just find things like assonance. Assonance, you can just find that it is the repetition of the vowel sounds. For example, the E sound you can just find getting repeated in lines like with your bitter twisted lies, bitter twisted lies. The E sound you can just find in those arrangements of words that could be looked upon as a good example of assonance. And of course, as an exercise, you can just look into the poem and just find out the similar situations of assonance. And you can just find a lot of imagery in the poem, just like you may write down in history, you may write down in history, you may shoot me with your words, like that. Different types of imagery, you can just find that. Of course, you just get into the poem and just try to find out such different types of imagery woven in the texture of this poetry. And another aspect, you can just find that certain rhetorical questions you can just find in this poem. Rhetorical question means a question that is not to receive an answer, but it is quite sure that the answer is clear. Just for example, does my sexiness upset you? Does my sauciness upset you? You know that the expected answer is yes. So this is what we call the example of rhetorical questions. The answer is predefined, but in order to give some assertion to the point that the poet is just making, you can just find a series of rhetorical questions really used in this poem. And of course, earlier we said assonance, repetition of vowel sounds. Just like you can just find a repetition of consonant sounds in the poem. That's what we call consonants. Just in lines like this, the L sound you can just find getting repeated. Swelling and welling, I bear in the tide. Swelling and welling. So the L sound is just giving this kind of feel, a kind of a little bit musical feeling, when you just recite. It's giving a particular kind of, a tone to the lines. And of course, you can just find a lot of similes in the poem. But still like dust, I laugh like I have got gold. I laugh like I've got gold mines. Like such things you can just find good examples of similes. Of course, you can just find from this poem. And one more thing I like to tell you is that another aspect you can just find that is called anaphora. Anaphora means the repetition of a word or expression into the first part of the poem in some of the verses. Just like if you take Maya Angelou Still I Rise, you can just find that you may write me down in history, you may trod me, you may. So that kind of the repetition of you see words in the initial stage of the verse, which is termed as anaphora. So just like you can just find the different types of the structural devices used in this poem. And as a conclusion, let me tell you that all in all, this is an inspirational poem with a powerful repetitive analogy, a universal message, and a clear positive pulse throughout. This is what we can just talk about Maya Angelou's work, and I'm sure that you'll be having a lot of doubts. You want sometimes you'll be having the desire to get more things explained and all, and I'm sure that you're free to ask questions. This is a platform for you, and you can ask any questions, any doubts, and let us make this platform as a ideal platform for just clearing your doubts and to accelerate our academic exercise in future too. Thank you all. Thank you all for just listening to me and listening to Angelou's poems Till I Rise. Thank you.